Got Thanksgiving leftovers? In this episode of Prep School, I'm going to show you 3 absolutely delicious ways to use them up. Let's get started. First up is our cream of turkey and wild rice soup. And this soup is so delicious that I often make it whether or not I have leftover turkey or chicken on hand. And what I love about this soup is that it's super easy to make. It's ready in 2 steps. And to help cut down on prep time, I'm using some pre-prepped ingredients. So sliced mushrooms and a mirepoix mix that I picked up from the grocery store, which is pre-chopped onions, celery, and carrots. So before we can head over to the stove, there's a few last prep steps we need to do, starting with chopping up some fresh parsley. So really you can use whatever leftover herbs you have on hand from your Thanksgiving dinner. I happen to have a bunch of parsley left over, so that's what I'm using. And we need about 2 tablespoons chopped, and this will go in at the very end. And next up, we are going to measure out some rice. I am going with plain old brown rice instead of wild rice. Of course, if you have some extra time, you can cook some brown rice yourself or look for it in the store. Go for options that don't have a ton of extra sodium added in there. So I'm going to measure out 1 cup here. Okay, so we have our 1 cup of brown rice measured out. Next up, we need a 1/4 cup of flour. And the very last thing, of course, we need our turkey for our turkey soup. You could, of course, use leftover chicken if you happen to have leftover roast chicken from dinner one night. So I shredded up a bunch when I was breaking down the turkey. So I'm just gonna add about 3 cups into my bowl here to make it easy to dump into the soup pot. So now we can head over to the stove and get cooking. All right, so first things first, let's get this pot hot. I'm gonna turn the heat to medium. And as that warms up, I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of olive oil to my Dutch oven. So I can feel the pot is quite warm now. The oil is shimmering, so in goes our mirepoix mix, as well as our sliced mushrooms. And we're gonna let this cook for about 5 minutes, stirring every so often. All right, so I see that my onions are now looking translucent, so this is the time to go ahead and add in my flour, my 1/4 cup of flour, as well as salt and pepper. And we'll just give this a good stir, and we're gonna let it cook for about another 2 minutes. All right, next up, we're gonna go ahead and dump in our broth. So we need 4 cups of chicken broth or chicken stock. Give that a stir. And we're gonna let this come to a boil now, so it'll take a few minutes. All right, so now our soup is at a rolling boil. I'm gonna add in our par or pre-cooked brown rice. And I'm gonna bring the heat down a little bit just so it maintains a simmer. All right, and we are almost done. So next up, we're gonna add in our shredded turkey or chicken, whatever you happen to be using. And now to add some more lovely creaminess, we're gonna add in some sour cream. And we need a 1/4 cup of this. And we're also gonna add in our freshly chopped parsley for that nice bit of flavor. And we can give this a stir, and in about 2 minutes or until the turkey is heated through, that's all it needs, and then it's ready to eat. And that is it. You saw how easy it was to put this together. So now all that's left to do is bring it on over to the counter and give it a taste. Alrighty, well, that is it. 1 recipe using Thanksgiving leftovers down. You saw how easy it was to make this soup. It's perfect if you have family staying with you after Thanksgiving. It makes for an easy lunch. And depending on how much turkey you have left over, you can easily double or triple the soup recipe. All right, I'm gonna put this pot of soup to the side and on to our next recipe. Okay, so next up is our leftover turkey salad. And I don't know about you, but after a big feast, I always crave veggies. And this is a great way to get in those veggies and also creatively use up leftovers. What we're gonna do is create a delicious sweet and zesty dressing using cranberry sauce. We're gonna crisp up stuffing on the stovetop to serve as croutons. And we're gonna pile in leftover veggies, turkey, and fresh salad greens to create this really delicious hearty salad. So let's get started by heading to the stove and crisping up the stuffing to turn it into croutons. All right, so I have my nonstick skillet here, and I'm gonna turn the heat on to medium, and I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And once that is warm, in goes my 1 cup of stuffing. And I'm just gonna stir this around and let it crisp up for about 8 to 11 minutes. And you'll know the color will get a deeper brown and it'll look like crispy stuffing. These croutons are all good, crispy, golden brown and delicious. We're gonna set them to the side while we make the dressing and assemble the salad. All right, so let's put this leftover cranberry sauce to use and make a dressing. I'm gonna take my cranberry sauce here and I need 1/4 cup. I love cranberry sauce personally. I'm very happy with it straight out of the can. Homemade's also delicious. I need a tablespoon of cider vinegar. All right, we need a little pinch of salt, as well as a few cranks of pepper. And now for the secret ingredient is orange zest. So this adds some nice bright flavor to the dressing. And we need a teaspoon. So I'm gonna go ahead and with my microplane, just get the very, very top layer. I'm gonna go ahead and pop it into my dressing here. And we're gonna give it a whisk. Wow, it smells awesome. Okay, so next up is our mixed greens. And of course you can use whatever greens you have on hand. So this recipe does serve 4, but I'm just gonna make 1 serving for myself. I'm gonna grab some leftover roasted veggies, again, whatever you have. I happen to have some butternut squash here. Okay, so now I'm gonna take some of this bright and lovely looking dressing and drizzle it over top of my greens and my squash. And we're gonna give this a toss. This cranberry vinaigrette kind of reminds me, it's like the fall version of a raspberry vinaigrette. All right, and now we can plate this up. So obviously super simple. It's just a fun way to use up leftovers here. I'm gonna take some of my leftover turkey here and just pop it on the top. Alrighty, and now comes time for the croutons, which I think is genius. Like, how did we not think of this before? This is so smart. And then you can also top it with some dried cranberries if you'd like. I'm gonna go for it here. And there you have it. It was super easy to make. It's a fun way to utilize leftovers, but I'm not gonna dig in yet because we have one more recipe left to use up our leftovers, and it's the ultimate turkey sandwich with avocado. All right, so on to the turkey sandwich. So this is no regular turkey sandwich. This is truly an ultimate turkey sandwich. So first up, let's make our dressing. We need a tablespoon of mayonnaise. So this recipe makes enough for 2 people. You can easily up the servings. We need a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. We need 1/2 teaspoon of maple syrup for a little touch of sweetness. And then we're also gonna add some fresh herbs to the mix. So I'm using that same parsley that I had left over. You can of course add some rosemary to the mix. Whatever you have left over, go ahead and use it up. And we need a teaspoon. Okay, so dressing or jazzed up mayo is made. We can put that to the side. All right, and to add a little bit of crunch to the salad, we're going to shred some iceberg lettuce. We need 1/2 cup. All right, and like I said, because this isn't any turkey sandwich, we're gonna jazz up this lettuce just a little bit. So a teaspoon of olive oil. We need a teaspoon of white distilled vinegar, or any vinegar that you might have on hand, and some fresh pepper. All right, so we are all prepped. We are ready to build this ultimate turkey sandwich. I'm gonna start by taking this herby mayonnaise mix that we made, and I'm gonna spread it on both sides of the bread here. Now, of course, a good old-fashioned turkey sandwich with mayonnaise, a little mustard can do the trick, but sometimes that can feel a little bit boring, so this is a fun way to jazz up your classic turkey sandwich. And especially depending on how many leftovers you have, you might be eating this for multiple days, so it's fun to make it feel a little bit special and different. We're gonna just really do this up. If you have leftover bacon or maybe leftover Canadian bacon from breakfast or brunch, go ahead, get it out, and let's add it onto our sandwich here. Of course, you can skip this piece altogether, but why not add it if we have it? And it just keeps getting better. Some avocado. I want to add some turkey, of course. All right, and we're almost there, not quite yet. We've got some smoked Gouda cheese. Cheddar would also be delicious, provolone. If you have any leftovers from your charcuterie cheese board, go ahead and get it out. All right, and our dressed iceberg here is gonna go on top. And it's okay if things fall out all over the place. And then of course we're gonna top this with our other piece of bread here. Whoa, I'm excited for this one. Ready for this beauty shot? Whoa. Now that is an ultimate turkey sandwich. And there you have it, 3 unique and delicious ways to use up your Thanksgiving leftovers. We have our leftover turkey salad, our cream of turkey soup with wild rice or regular rice, and we have our ultimate turkey sandwich. Cheers. You can get these 3 recipes and get so many other ideas for how to use up your leftovers on eatingwell.com. Thanks so much for watching, happy cooking, and I'll see you guys next time on Prep School.